All right, I'm here with Henry, or in New Jersey, Henry, and Henry does not like having people touch him. He also doesn't like being sniffed by other dogs. So in this video, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks you can use to help a dog feel comfortable and actually enjoy that sort of interaction. A general rule of thumb: when you're petting a dog, whether it's any dog that you don't know, what you should do is reach like this, and see how Henry came forward? Then I can reach forward and start petting him. He kind of leaned into that. If I reach like this and the dog backs up or turns its head to the side, it's the dog's way of saying, I don't want you to pet me. A lot of dogs that do what Henry does, is nip and bark and snap, is because we think what I'm doing is a positive thing, so I'm going to reach over and pet you. Now, I've spent a couple hours. This is actually one of the first times I'm petting him. I've been here almost 3 hours. But what we do is we just go right away and start petting him. And Henry's like, I really don't want you to pet me. So the person reaches and he turns his head to the side and they pet me anyways. If you have somebody that creeps you out and they're always touching your shoulders, that's going to make you feel not wanting to be around that person. And you might actually be in a bad mood. And eventually what happened one day is somebody reached over to pet Henry, he turns his head to the side, and they did it anyways, and he snapped at them because he was not feeling very sociable, and the person backed away. Now, dogs learn through association and repetition. So if I snap at the person, they moved away, that's what I wanted to have happen. Oh, so if I don't want people to touch me, I just snap at them? And now that snapping has now gotten to barking, now it's gotten to lunging, or not in his case, but this is where it usually comes from. So what we want to do is we want to manage this and help him practice this. So what I would have you do is have your friends, arrange to have your friends come over, or wherever you take them, start with your friends, because they're the easiest people. They'll be in on it with you and they'll do it for you. So just tell your friends, hey, if you want to pet Henry, pull your hand out right here. And if he leans forward, you can reach over and pet him. And if he turns his head to the side, you pull your hand back. See how his ears came up when I pulled my hand back? He said no, and I listened to him. That makes him like, oh, this guy hears me. He's listening to what I'm saying. I can have more confidence in this guy. I don't have to be on guard that he's going to always touch me. And in our society, women have to do those a lot because men do that. All right, so now I want to create a positive association with petting him. Now, a lot of people, when we go like this, you see those ears went back? That's a big hand coming over his head. That can be intimidating. And Henry likes being petted on his head, but not so much on his back. We'll see if I can achieve a back doing this, but it might take a little bit more practice than we can do in this short little introductory video. So I have smashed a meat-based treat into a pancake, and at first I'm going to let him nibble on it without doing anything. I'm doing this so I can get him to take it. So that took about 4 bites. So I want to smash it so that it's going to have that interaction. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him used to reaching for him, and I want him to see it coming. So while he's eating, I'm reaching for him, but I'm not actually touching him. And as soon as the treat is gone, I stop. So now we'll see, we have to have better camera awareness. We have to move a little bit to the side. All right, so now I'm gonna do it over here. So I'm gonna go further, but I'm earning his trust because I'm not doing it. Now I just touched his ear for the first time. Touch his ear for the second time, see? So that stopped him. So if he stops, that was at too much criteria. So I'm gonna go back to just the movement without the touch. And the treat is gone. So I stop again. That time I was able to touch, and he continued, and I touched another little bit more, and a little bit more. And the treat is gone, so I stop. All right, Henry, this is the money one. We'll see if I can get to touch your back a little bit. Now, this is much faster than you should go at home. I'm just doing this because I want to show you the interaction. So I touch his shoulder, and I'm just touching. I'm not petting. I'm just getting him conditioned to doing that. And again, he stops. That means I would go a little bit higher. So I'm going to start here and work my way down. And eventually, if you go slowly, you'll get to the point where you can be touching and then rubbing, and you can just have, let's see if I can achieve it here, because I think I probably have achieved enough trust with Henry. Let's see if I can do it this way. So make sure he's chewing on it first. Okay. So I stopped. You saw he stopped, so I stopped. So I won't be able to do it here, and I'm not going to pull. That's the whole thing, is we have our own agendas, and we push our own agendas, and we're too fast, and the dog fails. This happened over the course of probably months of him learning to snap at people. It's not going to take as long to fix it, but we do need to go by what he tells us. Now, the last little bit is we can also do the same thing with dogs. He does not like being sniffed. Now, point of the matter is, whoever gets sniffed first when a dog greeting is the more subordinate or has lesser status than the other two. So sometimes you can actually teach them to getting sniffed is a good thing. So what I would do is I'd find an older dog that is not intimidating for Henry. So something that's about his size or a little bit bigger, but slow, or not necessarily slow, but lower energy. So it's the same principle. So we let this dog, let him chew on it, and I have the other dog on a leash walking up to Henry, and then, but we're not getting all the way towards. We just have him hearing our dog approach from behind, and I would actually have it from behind, a little bit of an angle so Henry can see it, but he's distracted getting this treat. And then as soon as the treat gets done, the dog turns and walks away with the handler. That's why I have that dog on a leash. And eventually we'll get closer and closer and closer, and you want to have very, very high value training treats for this. And you might even go past this. These are chicken liver treats from Tricky Trainers, these treats right here. But you might, for when you actually have the dog sniffing them, you might go to Chipotle and get some warm chicken and have a piece of chicken, he's chewing on it. That's when the first dog sniffs it for the first time, he's getting that even better bonus. And then as soon as the chicken goes away, that dog gets pulled away. Prefer not pulled away, called away if you can. And if at any point Henry stops taking the treat where I'm going like this, or I'm touching, or the dog's approaching, that person, we stop or increase the distance by that, whatever that is. And if you go slowly enough, eventually Henry learns a dog approaching me means I get the best treat I've ever had. If people go to touch my back, it is associated with something pleasant. And now the last little thing is if your dog does not like having a part of its body touched suddenly, you do want to check and make sure there's not a physical issue. That's the very first thing probably should have said in this video, because we always want to rule out physical limitations because that's going to affect us psychologically as well. They do have doggy chiropractors. So you might want to go find a doggy chiropractor. He might have a disc out of alignment. If that's the case, then I'm not going to want anybody to touch my back either. So I would find that if that is the case, and doggy chiropractor is not like us, it's like, doggy chiropractor is kind of like more of a deep massage if you get a good chiropractor. They also have doggy acupuncture and pressure and all that fun stuff. But if there's something out of alignment and you fix that, that might take care of your problem right there. All right, well, this is Henry. And Henry, how about we show off a little bit? Spin. Spin. Also, one last little tip. Anytime that you're going to give a dog a command word, the most important time to hear it is that second one. And I'll show you a great example because we just did this a second ago. Henry, give me a spin. See how he hesitated? Henry, I really like it when you do the spin. 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 So I say it on that second time to tell him why he's getting the treat, and that's how they learn. You want to say only one word, not Henry, give me a spin, just spin. And then, so you say it during the command stage, spin, spin. And the second one is what I call during the reward stage. And the more you do that, the faster your dog can learn. Well, this is Henry, that was his spin, and these are tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that doesn't like to be touched or sniffed by other dogs.